Python's list comprehensions can have an optional condition at the end to filter down results using the if keyword. But what if you don't want to filter down results, but instead you'd like to have one expression evaluated or another? Can a comprehension use an if with an else? This list comprehension isn't valid. Python's list comprehensions don't have any support for an else keyword. But wait, I've seen else in a comprehension before. This comprehension works fine. This gives us all of the same numbers as before, but all the negative numbers are turned into zeros instead. How does that work? Well, the else isn't actually part of the comprehension, and neither is the if. This is Python's version of a ternary operator. This expression checks a condition and evaluates either one expression if the condition is truthy, or another expression if the condition is falsy. These are sometimes called inline if expressions or conditional expressions. This is what we saw at the beginning of our comprehension before. So the mapping part of this comprehension has an inline if within it. Here's the same comprehension written over multiple lines of code. Those first 3 lines are not part of the comprehension syntax, but are instead a single expression that happens to be inside our comprehension. I often prefer to write my list comprehensions over multiple lines of code, but this comprehension is a little bit deceptive because it looks like each component of our inline if is actually part of our comprehension syntax. We could make this a bit more readable by putting all 3 components of that conditional expression on one line. I prefer to take this even further by wrapping parentheses around that first expression to make it clearer that it's not actually part of the comprehension syntax itself. Folks reading our code who've never seen an inline if embedded in a comprehension will probably find this a bit easier to understand. Simpler comprehensions are often easier to read than more complex ones, so we might even consider moving that first conditional expression out of our comprehension and into its own function. Sometimes an inline if is readable enough, but the more complex they are, the more I'd hesitate to embed them inside a larger expression. Python's list comprehensions do not support the else keyword, but there's nothing stopping us from embedding a conditional expression within a comprehension. Just keep readability in mind when you're embedding a large expression within a comprehension.